Hey, my name is Nathan Resnick, the founder and CEO of Sourcify. Today we're going to touch on everything you need to know about manufacturing in Vietnam. Manufacturing in Vietnam is probably the one of the most, highest growing categories in the world. I mean, the country has grown so much in the past 5 and 10 years, and it is beautiful. I mean, look at this photo here with the rice fields, and it's just amazing landscape there. But today, we aren't going to touch on the beauty of Vietnam. We're going to touch on the manufacturing industry. And what's been really interesting about manufacturing trends globally is a lot of Chinese manufacturers has been moving their factories to Vietnam since the early 2000s because sourcing from Vietnam and enabling these business owners to diversify their factory base and empowers them to have more of a global footprint. And so it's really amazing to see how Vietnam has grown. And so whether a factory is owned by a Chinese person or a Vietnamese person, the factory still benefits from Vietnam's prime location. And there are a lot of materials that go back and forth to China, all the time between Vietnam. And so, when you think about Vietnam manufacturing, the key categories are apparel, home textiles, luggage, furniture, packaging, wood products, hair extensions, and I would also add in furniture. There's a lot of up and coming furniture factories there. And I think what's beneficial about Vietnam and manufacturing there is the government has placed strict environmental regulations on the manufacturing industry. They want to keep a clean country, and this is so important, especially when you look at what has happened to China due to all the manufacturing there. I mean, there's a lot of pollution. So if you're, already ready to find your factory, Sourcify can help you. We have product sourcing school that walks you through the process of bringing an idea to life. But if you still want to learn about the production capabilities of Vietnam, the best factories, like I've been to a factory in Vietnam that had over 10,000 employees. I mean, they were huge and they're producing products for some of the world's leading footwear brands. But if you're a smaller startup, you're probably going to look at a factory that, generally requires an order of around 1,000 pieces. These are great for smaller businesses or e-commerce startups that are requesting smaller production runs. And especially in the garment and textile industries, one of the key components here that you have to watch out for is, where's the fabric coming from? Are they getting the fabric from China and then importing it into Vietnam? Because that's an added cost there. And you want to try to find a factory that can vertically integrate. So they have, a fabric mill close by with your fabric. They have the cut and sew facility right there. They're getting, the zippers from another factory. All of that you want to be close by. So when you think about manufacturing, what's really interesting about, Vietnam and two major cities there, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, is that, they both have major international airports, but they haven't been upgraded in a while. And there's a threat that the ports, will reach maximum capacity. So getting products out of the country can be a challenge. And one of the realities there is only 20% of national roads are paved. And so though that has increased drastically over the past 5 years, still compared to the number of paved roads in America or China, it's a lot less. So when transporting your finished goods from the factory to the port, there are problems that do come up. If you think about the country cost, labor rates are very affordable. They have risen because Vietnam, only has about 100 million people or so. And so if you think about that population compared to China, there's just not a lot of people there. And so the rates are raising as demand has risen. But still, if you think of freight, it's pretty comparable to other countries that you're exporting from. And each courier that you work with, each freight forwarder that you work with, is going to have its own rates. But the duties, from Vietnam are a lot less. You aren't going to have to pay as many duties when you're importing from Vietnam. And so it's really important to really check out and understand Vietnam is a great manufacturing hub that you should be utilizing to produce your products. So if you're ready to bring your idea to life, I recommend checking out Product Sourcing School. We walk you through how to bring your idea to life in as little as 90 days. Thanks for tuning in and hope this helped you learn about manufacturing in Vietnam.